Deion Sanders took Colorado down to UCF and got what I think is the biggest win of the Coach Prime Colorado era.
Easily his best win. I mean, this was the type of win that we were promised, right? Not like barely holding on to beat South Dakota State or something like that. I mean, if you go on the road and you can beat Central Florida like that, then I really think the way the rest of the Big 12 has gone, and I think this we need to talk about this in the context of how the conference is looking, that Colorado could beat anyone else that's on their schedule. Right now, Utah has a loss. Oklahoma State has 2 losses. BYU's undefeated right now, leading the conference. So that conference has been completely inverted. And if you look at it, I mean, you have to say Colorado could potentially beat any one of those teams. And if they can, well, then they could win the conference. If you win the conference, you can make the playoff.
Like, you pull up their schedule real quick, because I'm
already got it up.
Yeah, that's why they call you the Dragon.
All right, you have Kansas State at home. Yeah. All right, you go to Arizona, Cincinnati at home, at Texas Tech. You play Utah at home, whoever the hell's going to be the quarterback there. Then you play at Kansas. You finish the year Oklahoma State at home.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, remember, their one loss was to Nebraska.
Out of conference.
Nebraska's in the Big Ten.
Yep.
And David, just the best point, you made a lot of good points, but the best point is this Big 12 around Colorado, and I don't want this to sound like I am discrediting Colorado as a team. This is a good thing for Colorado. It's not as good as what we thought and a lot of people thought. You look at Utah, you bring up the quarterback situation. I don't know if Cam Rising's ever going to play. This is the most I've never seen somebody make so much money and be a part-time employee too. Like, it's incredible. Now, I know Cam Rising is actually injured, right? It's not like he's faking anything or whatever. He's legitimately hurt. But it doesn't matter if you're faking it or it's real. If you're not playing quarterback, Utah cannot do the things that we thought they were going to. And there was a risk in picking Utah like I did because Cam Rising has been so unavailable. I can't sit here and talk about Quinn Ewers being unavailable and not talk about Cam Rising. You look at Kansas State, you get him at home. Kansas State beat Oklahoma State to death. That's great. But I don't think Kansas State is way, way further ahead than Colorado is from a playmaking ability. The difference may come up front. But that's why I think this win for Colorado is the most credible one that Prime has had since he's been there. Not that UCF is a juggernaut up front. They went to the transfer portal during the offseason and imported a new defense because they were awful last year. But they are respectable up front. And for Colorado to go down there and do what they did against this team, and I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear about the weather or anything like that. Both those teams showed up at the same time, and both those coaching staff showed up at the same time, and one got after the other, and it was Colorado getting after UCF. And if Colorado can just stalemate up front, see, that's the thing, and that's what we've talked about. Colorado doesn't have to dominate teams up front. Yeah. They don't have to sit here and run for 300 yards and have 9 sacks a game. They just got to play decent enough to let Shadur and Travis and Shepard and Horn and Wester and these guys cook. Give Shadur enough time to let him cook because they are really good there. And looking around the rest of the Big 12, Kansas isn't what we thought they were.
No.
Not even close. Oklahoma State can't stop a nosebleed in a nurse's office right now.
Yeah.
Unless it's Utah and they're playing with Zach Wilson's, little brother at quarterback. So this Colorado team, and I'll be the first one to sit here and say, is it a product of the Big 12 being down? Yeah, a little bit. But you got to make sure and give Colorado credit for not being one of those teams that's down. They are punching above their weight, I think, up front on the line of scrimmage right now. And the more confident this type of team gets, the more dangerous they get because Prime's got them believing. Like, there's no self-doubt with this team. It's one thing to think you can do it. And Drake says this, it's real when you are who you thought you were. Right now, Colorado is thinking, hey, we may be who we thought we were. And nothing is more dangerous for the opponent than that group of guys and the way Prime operates for them to be confident and seeing proof of concept on the field.
Well, Blaine, Colorado has been deficient in the type of areas that it's really hard to win football games throughout the stretch of a season when you're deficient in the front 7 or up front. And they've been making up for that at the skill positions because they have some of the best skill position guys in the country, which usually helps you win games at the beginning of the year before you get banged up and you have to go week after week, which is what we saw a year ago. So, yes, down the stretch of this schedule, which is the toughest part for them, they could still go 4-8. Of course they could. But they could also beat any team on that schedule. I mean, what do you realistically think the chances are that Colorado could win the conference now?
I think they're good. I think the Big 12 is an extremely mediocre conference. It really is. With Cam Rising out at Utah, what team other than, I guess, Kansas State are you impressed with?
I don't think
Kansas State haven't even impressed.
I don't think BYU. You have to give BYU all the credit. Sure. I just don't think that conference right now has a team that could win a playoff game.
I don't think so either.
And I
think probably the best one outside, if Cam Rising is not playing quarterback, might be Colorado, depending on the matchup. Well, because after, what defense true defense right now, you just saw Georgia and Bama play each other, almost get about 40 points each. Like, is there a defense right now other than maybe Michigan or Tennessee that you feel great about walking into the playoff?
Not great. To David's point, I don't think a Big 12 team, will win a playoff game outside of maybe, the automatic qualifier. Who wins it gets a bye, and then the group of 5 team wins a game and then plays them. I don't see it right now. But again, that speaks to the Big 12 as a conference. But Colorado and BYU, I don't know how Kansas State, obviously, but Kansas State was the team that we thought, could do some things. Guys, Arizona did just beat Utah too. And don't forget, that Arizona loss to Kansas State, not a conference game. So keep that in your back pocket. I just don't trust Arizona, right? They're too inconsistent. They're a one-trick pony. It's a great trick with Fafita and McMillan, but the Big 12 is kind of down, David. Hey, YouTube, what is up? Appreciate all you guys stopping by. We're unbelievably happy with how many people watch the live stream and how many subs we're getting. Please, if you haven't, if you just found us, hit that subscribe button and please keep sharing the show because we want to keep taking this thing on the road.